I think Indians also, all of us, our families, we tend to be hoarders. We are very sentimental and we get attached to a lot of things. I was reading a book by someone, I think it was a Japanese author, and the person said that if you haven't looked at something for a certain duration of time, chances are you don't need it, right? So less is definitely more. I would say pick finishes, things, all of these items that you bring into your house selectively. I would say that functional first, yes, over form.
Hello once again to Ask Housing. Today our guest is Anubhav Gupta, who's the Chief Design Officer at Godrej Properties Limited. Anubhav, great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'm Jamur Ghosh, Editor-in-Chief Housing.com News, and I'm hoping to get some great tips from Anubhav on not just design hacks, but design mistakes that we should be avoiding.
So firstly, welcome to our sample apartment at the Origins. So let's begin with this room itself. So when you walk in to the drawing dining, you will typically read this room from that corner to that corner. The reason for that is we have enclosed the kitchen with a glass partition. Now if you look at the glass partition itself, the proportion, as I was highlighting to you earlier, is such that it's divided at a lower height and it's got a lot of verticality. That helps with elongating the volume of the room. It makes the room look taller, feel more voluminous than it actually is. This piece here, again, this is a lot like the furniture that you will see in the rest of the apartment. You'll notice that we've used, again, a very simple palette. It matches with the white and the stone top. But what's interesting is how light it is below. So you actually see the wall, and that makes it feel a lot airier. Typically, a lot of us will make the mistake, and it's not a mistake always, it depends what kind of a space it is in. But if I had this completely covered all the way through, it will definitely make this room look smaller. Now, if you look at the furniture around the sort of living room, you'll notice, and I was saying this earlier to you, you don't have to buy a traditional sofa set. We have a large three-seater, we have one chair. Again, the palettes are matching. You'll notice the carpet, the leather, the wood, and then we've got this poof. Now this poof can be removed when you want it to be, and it feels a lot larger. You'll notice here, for example, the dining table. Now a lot of this is about proportion, and I remember I said function first, less is more. So we've resized the furniture. If we come here into the passageway, a lot of our homes have passageways, right? And they are typically looked at as wasted spaces. So, what we did was, we said, let's celebrate that space instead of looking at it as a negative space. We put these very thin shelves, and we decided to use metal in this case. We also put a large mirror. Mirrors, as we know, makes the space appear to be larger than it is. And then here we used wood, but again we used white. So you'll notice the palette is all black and white pretty much, right? And it works quite well. A lot of our customers who've come in have actually appreciated this, and they've said, well, we can easily take this hack back to our own house. Now, if you come into this room, so here, remember I was talking a little bit about if you have things closed in, it again tends to make the space look crowded. So you'll notice the bed is elevated, you see the flooring go through. Now in this room, what's interesting is, we curated this room for a slightly older person. And we didn't want necessarily very low height furniture. So what we did was, we still had a low height bed, we had a low headboard, but we made up for it by the mattress. You'll notice we wanted to put in a dresser. So again, we went back to function and we said this much is possibly enough. It is also open in the under it, so it's not fully skirted. You'll notice this cupboard. Again, we typically have a habit of covering up the entire wall space. I would say one of the big hacks is that you should always buy furniture that is slightly smaller than the space you want to fit it in. And when you put it against a wall where you can see bits of the wall, you will always find that the room looks larger. These are some interesting ways of making sure the space is larger if it fits the function.
Anubhav, my first question to you sort of relates to your entire background. You know, I noticed that, you know, you've studied, lived, worked in many countries across the globe. You're a licensed architect and urban planner. You have design and planning expertise and exposure across various segments and verticals. So I think this is the right question to be asking you. What are the 3 most common design mistakes that you seem to come across?
Thank you for the introduction. No pressure there. I will try my best.
Yes.
I think in my mind there are 3 big buckets typically where people tend to go awry.
Okay.
To do with area, to do with volume, and to do with materials. Now, when it comes to area, the trouble is we all go out and buy furniture. And you know, a lot of the furniture may not be rightly proportioned or rightly sized. So while it looks great in the store, when you pick it up and bring it into your home, and when you bring in multiple pieces of furniture into your home, it can start to look overcrowded, or you know, you might lose the idea of space, you might lose the idea of circulation and things like that. From a volume perspective, a lot of us also like to have false ceilings and built out kind of, you know, for cupboards and storage.
And we read it in the magazines and they're telling us this is in and this looks amazing.
Exactly. A lot of this is from references, right? When you look at a magazine, it looks great because actually that space might be a lot larger. Now, the more you build out, again, you tend to start losing that idea of space. Now, we do need storage, we need all of these kind of things, but there might be better ways of doing that. So from a volume perspective, when you start extruding and start building things out, I think you know, you could go wrong. The third piece, I think, has to do with materials. You know, if you have too many materials in the house, whether it's to do with flooring, whether it's to do with your wall finishes, even furniture, you know, whether it's metal, whether it's glass, whether it's wood, the more you have, the more your house tends to look like a showroom rather than a kind of a balanced palette. So, you know, these are the kind of things I would say your viewers should keep in mind when they are going out to furnish their homes.
Okay. So since we are lay people, you know, so I'm going to ask you the second part of the question. So, you know, supposing I had all of these ideas, now tell me, how can I maybe circumvent, or how, even if maybe I've landed up in a situation like this, what are the sort of, you know, hacks I can use to sort of rectify, you know, these kind of mistakes?
So I think principally speaking, less is more.
Okay.
I think Indians also, all of us, our families, we tend to be hoarders. We are very sentimental and we get attached to a lot of things. I was reading a book by someone, I think it was a Japanese author, and the person said that if you haven't looked at something for a certain duration of time, chances are you don't need it.
Very true.
Right? So less is definitely more. I would say pick finishes, things, all of these items that you bring into your house selectively. I would say that functional first over form, because we have a lot of different types of people who use the house. Right? You've got young people, you've got older people, you've got help in the in the Indian setting. So function first and then form. I definitely say there is a room for special objects in the house, but they should be special by virtue of special. So if everything is special, then typically the house tends to look like a showroom or a shop or a, you know, and one gets confused. You know, and I would liken this to, you know, if you go to any European city, which we love, all the buildings look like fabric buildings, and then there's a church in the middle, which is beautiful. Now, if all the buildings were these beautiful buildings, you would be kind of
like a centerpiece, so to speak.
Correct. So you can have the one odd, you know, beautiful brass chair. You can have the one odd, you know, cabinet where you might want to put objects of interest and things like that. So I would say those would be the principles to follow. And I think it's good not to be prescriptive, because people use their homes to express their identities.
Very true.
If they follow these principles, I feel that they can in their own way express what they want their homes to be.
Absolutely. You know, so now my next question is about hacks, because everybody is looking to save time, save space, you know, save money. So, you know, what would be your 3 best hacks, you know, that you can offer to our audience?
You know, I think spaces are getting smaller.
Yeah.
And I feel that one space is not now necessarily used,
Yeah.
or you are able to use it for that singular activity.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say flexi space,
Fantastic.
flexible ability to use furniture,
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah.
I think what that does is it gives one options,
Yeah.
both for function
Yes.
as well as for form.
Yeah.
You know, my sister actually loves to change up her house
Okay.
once every 6 months because she says she gets bored.
Wow.
Now that was in the back of her mind when she went out to buy furniture.
Okay.
Right now, even in the house, in the shell, one would typically have structural walls,
Yeah.
non-structural
Yeah.
walls. Now, if you have the ability to play with that,
Yeah.
you could do interesting things.
Yeah.
You could have an open kitchen.
Yeah.
You could change. You don't have to have a wall. You could
Yeah.
have a glass partition.
Yeah.
You could have a low height partition.
Yeah.
With a low height partition, on the one side you could have shelving.
Yeah.
On the other side you could put a sofa.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Also, I would say don't be traditionally looking at things. So, for example, if you had a, you know, one goes out and buys a sofa set.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy a sofa set.
True.
You could buy a 3-seater and you
Yeah.
could couple that up with a interesting easy chair.
Very true.
You know, it's like a suit.
Yeah.
You don't always have to wear a suit.
Yeah.
You can wear a combination.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think introducing a lot of green into the house is
Yeah.
always nice.
Yeah.
On the material side, I prefer lighter material.
Okay. Why is that?
It's airy.
Yeah.
It reflects more light.
Yeah.
It just feels larger
Yeah.
to the, you know,
Very true.
to the eye when someone
Yeah.
walks in.
Yeah.
I also think that the more things are built out,
Yeah.
they tend to make the home or the room look smaller.
Yeah.
I tend to prefer low height furniture
Okay.
than sort of the typical height that you find.
Yeah.
That is because, again, the volume of the room
Mm-hmm.
typically tends to be 9 or 10 feet.
Yeah.
You'll notice in a room when you walk in, if the furniture is lower,
Yeah.
the room feels larger.
Very true.
Now, of course, you can't always have low
Yeah.
furniture because older people may not be
Yeah.
able to get up
Yeah.
and things like that. Proportion is important,
Yeah.
I think, and people normally miss that.
Yeah.
So designers are able to help with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you'll find that, you know, when you look at a wall or you look at a glass partition,
Mm-hmm.
if you had the vertical spaced out,
Mm-hmm.
you read the wall in a certain way. If
Yeah.
you have it spaced together,
Yeah.
you read the volume in a
Yeah.
different way.
Yeah.
So things like that,
Yeah.
I think, tend to be important. So I'd say keep your eyes open to these
Yeah.
small, subtle things.
Yeah.
Typically, homes tend to be smaller, tighter spaces
Yeah.
normally.
Yeah.
So you want to do your best to make it look, feel airy.
Great, you've given me more than 3 hacks.
Sorry
for
about that.
sure. No, we need more. My last question to you is on a project level. So the project where we are at currently, which is Godrej Trees, the name itself, it's self-explanatory. You know, one of the USPs that, you know, the company is talking about is the green cover aspect of it. Now, I've noticed that cities like Bengaluru, Pune, it's a lot more common because home buyers demand such projects. They are willing to pay a premium for such projects. But in cities like Mumbai, it's a rare luxury to sort of talk about, you know, projects with green cover. Now, my question is, you know, in light of all the information that we are getting about our cities being really polluted and, you know, the air quality being questionable, do you hope for and do you foresee that maybe sometime in the future these kind of projects could become trendsetters all over the country and home buyers might actually demand such projects and be willing to pay a premium for it?
You know, anything that's scarce and is viewed as good for you would become a trend in any case. But I think it's less important. Trends only last a few, for a short time.
Sure.
And it's like saying, is dieting a trend? Well, it might be healthy if you eat organic food.
Yeah.
It might be a trend, but it's good for you.
Yeah.
So from our perspective, sustainability is very important on any project, and we are a pan-India developer. You spoke of Bombay. Bombay, again, you don't have this luxury of space in any case.
Yeah.
Forget space, you don't have the luxury of green.
Yeah.
So, here the trees, we did have that luxury.
Yeah.
So we said we should not only preserve it, but enhance it. So
Absolutely.
when we master planned the community, we saved about 85+% of the tree cover here.
Wow.
And eventually, when we finish the development, we would have planted more to actually end up with much more. And Vikhroli is very green already.
Yes, yeah.
Right. From a health perspective, this is key. As you know, you mentioned our cities are getting polluted. You can't today put a price or value on good health and well-being.
Yeah.
We have reason to believe, based on some studies we've done, that the air quality is significantly better here in Vikhroli as compared to the average of Mumbai.
Yeah.
Now, this is good for young people, for old people, for everybody.
Yes.
Right. What we've also done is we've tried to look at this at multiple scales. So, for example, we piloted our first urban farm here. So it's not only about preserving the tree cover, enhancing it. We are trying to engage with the green.
Yeah.
So we found that people have just lost this idea of working with soil and their hands.
Yeah.
So we said, why don't we pilot an urban farm, see if people like it.
Yeah.
If they do, then we'll introduce it into the development.
Yeah.
So very happy to see that people love it.
Yeah.
You could, in a very small area, you could grow your own vegetable patch or your own herbs and things like that. Now we are taking it to the balconies of our apartments, right? So we've said you have it at the flat level. You will have maybe a vegetable patch, say, in your amenity area, and your entire development sits on a mangrove belt.
Yeah.
Which is several times the size of Hyde Park in London.
Yeah.
So, it's at all levels that this becomes part of your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And once you live like that, I think it's very hard to go back, and if you can have that, the best of the city as well as the best of nature, that's what good urban design is based on.
Yes.
So we are trying to do some of that here.
Fantastic. Those are great words to end the conversation by. I hope you like the tips that we shared. If you have any tips that you'd like to share with us, do write into us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do keep track of us on Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.